429 with Aliyah Shari.
Welcome to the 429 podcast, where we talk all things faith, family, business, love, and everything in between. I am your host, Aliyah Shari. Welcome. If you are new here, please hit that subscribe button so that you are notified whenever I post a new video. This is the third episode of the Uncomfortable Conversations series. Thanks to those who have watched, reached out, and supported the first two episodes. As I've stated before, just remember that you may not always agree with what I have to say or with what my guests have to say. But please remember to keep it respectful in the comments. With that said, I'd like to welcome my next guest, who is actually no stranger to the show. She was on the 429 podcast before I even knew it would be a podcast. She was here sharing her testimony about surviving domestic violence. But today, she is here in a different capacity. Everyone, please welcome Miss Alonna Tipton, LPC. Alonna, how are you? How are you doing?
I'm
How are you feeling?
good. I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
Thank you for having
Um,
me here.
You're welcome. Thank you for agreeing to do this. As I've stated before, I appreciate having you back on the show in this capacity. So we're just going to jump right in. As you know, some of our viewers may not know, but this is National Child Abuse Prevention Month, which is what we'll be talking about today, the basis of our conversation today. Before we get started, Alonna, would you
hmm
please share your credentials?
Yes, I am a licensed professional counselor. I have received training in trauma focused cognitive behavioral therapy, which is short for TFCBT. I am also being a part of trauma play. That is another realm of trauma focused cognitive behavioral therapy as well. I received my bachelor's degree in psychology at the Jackson State University, as well as my master's degree at Siena Heights University in clinical mental health counseling.
So, in other words, you know what you're talking about. You know you are qualified to be discussing this topic that we are talking about today. So,
Yes,
I
I have some wisdom on it. I have some
absolutely,
wisdom
you
on
have a
it.
lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge. So, I just wanted our viewers to know
Okay.
this woman knows what she's talking about. So,
Okay.
but thank you for sharing that, Alonna. You're more than qualified to be guiding us in this conversation today. I really appreciate you taking out the time to be on the show. So, to start, talk to me about your current role and tell me what kind of work you do.
Currently, I am a part of Voices for Children Advocacy Center. Our agency is a nonprofit and we serve children in Tennessee County that has dealt with any signs of trauma, child abuse, which is the realm of physical and sexual abuse, as well as human trafficking. I am a child and family therapist there at Voices for Children. So I am serving children from ages, you could say 4 to 17. Mm-hmm.
Many people have said that you've always had a way with kids.
Mm-hmm.
Even as we were growing up and like we became like teenagers and it was in our early 20s, even just the kids at church will just like gravitate to you. We don't know why, but it was a beautiful thing to see. We could be out at a store and you would connect with like a stranger's baby. Like you've always had a way with children. So I said that to say that to know that you're in a career field where you're helping them in that sort of way, I think that's beautiful. And I think it's just like a full circle thing. So I just wanted to throw that in there for the people.
Thank you.
So Alonna, if you can you talk to me? You mentioned a few of them earlier, I believe, but
Mm-hmm.
talk to me about some of the methods that you use and how they can help the child learn and heal from their trauma.
Okay. So the modality that I came into the agency. We have to have this under our belt in order for us to serve our population. Is the trauma focused cognitive behavioral therapy, and which is like I said, short for TFCBT. And so basically, it is a program or a process of us going through a step, which is practice. It's an acronym for practice, and I'm not going to go all into of each letter of it, but it's basically like 12 to 24 sessions, and basically we are trying to give them the skills of basically telling their story in the middle of their process, as well as learning before the education of the abuse and what happened, as well as relaxation, coping skills as far as to regulate emotions during the trauma. And then in the middle, it is where they are able to tell their story. They could do it in any creative way. It's basically unique for the client. And then at the end, we go into what it's going to look like after you have shared your story. So when people think that what happened to kids, think that it's the end of the world, and even sometimes kids think that, like, this particular trauma has ruined my life, I don't have any hope. TFCBT shows you that you are able to see. I always tell the kids, it's a light at the end of the tunnel. Yes, the tunnel is going to be dark, and I'm going to hold your hand throughout the tunnel, but you're going to see that light at the end of it if you go through this process. So when I first received the education with that made me think back on my trauma and other people's trauma, and it's just like, wow, like, people sometimes don't have different methods or coping skills in order to get through things, and sometimes we do think that it's the end of the world, but this intervention, or excuse me, this modality is hope, basically, at the end. So that is one of the modalities that I have been trained in. Yes,
right.
and I can go on and on, but that one mainly is the realm of what we actually service, that we actually give. But it's so many different modalities in that agency that you can receive if you are interested, because everybody is unique with their trauma.
So when you say modality, is that like methods?
Yes.
Sort of, so to speak. I like how you busted out. He was like, so the modality. I was like, girl, you
So
better go with the language.
so it's modalities, and then after that, then with the modalities, then we're able to receive interventions. So more interventions are like techniques, and activities, for each realm of the process. So yeah, it's steps, but sometimes steps is different. You sometimes are given all of this information, and then you're eager, you're ready to apply it, but you look back and just say, well, some of these kids are unable to do that because of, we have to go back to self-esteem, or we have to go back to actually them understanding what emotions are and being able to express that. So it takes a lot of time. So my colleagues, we always say, oh yeah, they say 12 to 24, but in reality it's longer or it's shorter. We just never know.
So I know you can't, there's certain like things you can't say, names you can't name. I would not ask you to do that.
Okay.
So just answer, the questions in the best way that you can without giving away too much. In the cases that you've had so far in your career, has there been one that has stuck with you? And if so, talk to me about that case, if you can, sharing whatever details you're able, and talk to me about why it stuck with you.
I could think about, out of my whole career,
so far,
it's one that really stuck out to me. This one was an adult. This at this point in my career, I was trying to find what I'm comfortable with. I was trying to get I was trying to get experience basically. So I had both. I had children and adult. And at this time, this was during the pandemic. And when with the pandemic, it was very hard on a therapist as well as people in general. And that day, this particular person was struggling with a lot of things, and it was for me my job to be the light and to show them that it's not the end of the world, but for some reason that this person was allowing their trauma um, to hinder them at this point and to soak everything in. And this day, it was just a battle. Each session, it was just a battle. Like first they're up and it's like, yes, we're here, you're making progress, and then it just goes down. But this particular, and it was frustrating too, because it's just like I was a little bit younger at that time, and I had the mindset of I can do this. And I really thought, when I got out of school, that I could save each person that came along my way. And
Yeah.
so I was pushing, I was feeling everything, and I was frustrated at times when they didn't want to do what they wanted to do or wanted to change. And so this particular session, they were down, of course. And I was like, in my head, like, oh Lord. I was honest with myself, like, oh Lord, like what's next? So I'm just trying to go with each step, each check-in. And so they just told me, like, I'm suicidal. And of course, that when someone says I'm suicidal, I've been thinking about it, you have to automatically, this is crisis mode. Ain't no going with, oh, well, how are you feeling about, no, we need to talk about this. Do you have a plan? If you do have a plan, what is your plan? Do you know the proper protocol of when I do ask you about this plan, that I have to call 911? So when this happened, I remember this was virtual. So I was at home and I'm just like on edge. And I said, so I'm going through the steps and I'm thinking in my head, like the typical protocol, they always say, well, I've been thinking about it, I don't have a plan. But this person particularly was honest with me, which I am thankful for. And they just said, yes, I have a plan. And I said, so what is your plan? I need to know this, because this is the proper, let me know. And they showed me the gun. And the gun was right next to them, and they were bawling their eyes out, and it was like, I'm going to use it. And so I went in panic mode, because I'm just like, if this person commits this type of act in front of me, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I've never seen it done before. And it was a lot. So I automatically said, you got to stay on the phone with me. And I called 911, and they immediately came within seconds. And I said, I will talk to you later, because of course, when you report this, they automatically take you to the hospital, and you're there until maybe a week or 2 weeks. It just all depends on the severity of it. And I closed my iPad, and I remember like walking down the stairs, and I'm just like stunned, because I'm just like, if this person didn't log on, what could have happened? If I didn't actually go into that mode of crisis mode, what could have happened today? And that's a lot to bury. And I, as a human and as a girl and as a young woman and someone fresh out, I was scared, and I bawled my eyes out the rest of the day.
Yeah. I remember that. I didn't remember the details.
Yeah.
I think I was in my room, or I was just coming home, and I kind of heard you, and it sounded like somebody was crying. In my mind, I'm like, did somebody just pass away? Like, Lord, what's going on? And I remember Mom just there holding you. And I came out the
Yeah.
room and I was just like hugging y'all. I was just like, that is,
Yeah.
I
And
couldn't
it's
imagine
still,
being in that situation.
and even like I haven't talked about this in years, like since it happened, but thinking back now, like actually talking about it now, like it brings tears to my eyes because it's just
Yeah.
like you just never know. And people think,
Never know.
people think, oh, you're a therapist, you're a counselor, yeah, you just talk about your feelings. No, people are fighting demons out here, like, and I'm
Hmm.
trying to hold their hand while they're doing it. And it's times where I'm fighting them for them, and it's
Yeah.
just like you just never know. And I just pray that this person is doing well now, because I'm no longer, at that office anymore. But yeah,
Wow. Well,
yeah,
thank you for the work that you do, and I am grateful to God that you were just in the right place at the right time, because it's, you say, if you wouldn't have logged on, or if they wouldn't have, but also if they didn't have you as their therapist, their counselor at the time, we still don't know what the outcome could have been. We
yeah.
don't know that the therapist or counselor would have handled it with the same grace, or um, handled it the same way that you did. So
And I know that suicide is very, very. We take that very. We don't take it lightly. Um, I don't think anybody should take it lightly. But I just want to say that when it comes to suicide, it's okay to speak on it, because a lot of
mhm,
people say, "Well, I don't want to talk about it. We can't talk about it. I can't. I don't want to ask this person um if they're suicidal, because then they'll do it." No, suicidal people, or someone that's going to commit, they're going to do it. They're not going to say anything about it. They're not going to speak up on
mm,
it. They are going to do it. If they have their mindset on, they're going to do it. So I just want y'all to be mindful about that
yeah,
they when people say, "Oh, I'm gonna kill myself," okay, yeah, we're gonna bring up the process of it, and the steps of, okay, you what's your plan, do you have a plan and all that. But some people that don't have that, they just do it, and sometimes you don't even know what they're even going through.
yeah,
So I just want people to be mindful about that when someone say, "Oh, well, suicide, yeah, we can't talk about that," or "I can't ask them about that. They just gonna think about it, or they gonna do it." No, people, if they gonna do it, they gonna do it, and they're not gonna tell you
yeah.
about it. They just gonna do it.
Wow.
So I just want to just let y'all know that.
Well, thank you for informing us.
You're welcome. Sorry for
Um,
to be so deep and dark.
no,
Sorry about
Alana,
that.
no apologies, because I already knew what was up. If that was a negative thing for me, I wouldn't have asked you on the show. I already knew kind of what could have come
Okay.
out of this. So no apologies necessary. I just thank you for the work that you do. So kind of moving on to today's topic is, let me say this right, National Child Abuse Prevention Month. Because child abuse, I think some people think is just a child getting beat, but that
Right.
can be. So what is, how is child abuse, or how should it be defined? What is child abuse?
Child abuse, manipulation. It
Mm,
could be it could be manipulation, it could be physical, it could be sexual, it could be neglect, verbal. It's a lot of realms when it comes to child abuse, but I know that the what we're trying to prevent is less physical, less sexual, less human trafficking. Um, but that's what we're here for, to try to prevent that, because people don't know this, but think about all the kids in the world, and you think that it's like one of a few that are not in a good stable home, or is being abused, physical, mental, sexual, verbal.
mm,
And it's just like they're brought into this world. They're just so innocent and they can't even decide on what they want to do with their future because as adults or parents, we're not protecting them. We're not protecting them. Um we're not protecting them. We're not keeping them safe. Um we're not having the conversations. We're not having the conversations with them. Oh, they're kids. They're not gonna remember or they're not gonna know. They remember.
Yeah.
They know. And people think the kids are just not intelligent or smart. Them little ones, they know. I was gonna
They're
call.
very smart and very observant.
They are They are observant. They're sponges, and they
Yeah.
know. They know how to play the game. Like people think, like, oh, like I sometimes challenge kids, like you know your parent, like you know that you know how to get your way in a sense,
Mm-hmm.
because you know they're gonna give it to you. You know that's not right, and
Right.
they just look at me like, "Dang, you caught me." Yeah, it's a game.
It
it's
is.
it's it's a game. They know.
But
Yeah.
me, you know me, and people who know me, they know that one of my favorite shows in the world is Law and Order SVU. So I don't know if you watch it. I feel like I
I
already
can't
told you
watch
if you,
it. I can't
yeah,
watch
because
it.
I see you in the show, like as far as the professionals, because it's one Dr. Wong. He's a psychologist. They call him a shrink because back then I guess it wasn't as it was looked at, it was frowned upon to have
Hmm.
a therapist or whatever. But Dr. Wong be on it. He be in there
Hmm.
with the kids. Sometimes they're coloring, sometimes they're. He said, "Can you show me what this?" So anyway, um, it's not a real like it's not a real show. It's fiction, but a lot of it is based on real events, real things that happen. One of the things that I've noticed on the show, especially when dealing with kids are considered special victims. A lot of those cases, the kids are being abused physically, sexually. A lot of the times it's by the adults, but there are some episodes where it's by other children. There's like, there could be like a younger one. I think in a couple of them, it was like his older brother or cousin or somebody that was abusing them because something was done to them.
Correct.
So
Correct.
I want to ask you, Alonna, how often do you see this where the abuse, the sexual abuse, we're going to just say it, the sexual abuse is coming from like from one child to another, from one adolescent or child to another? Is that common in your line of work? Do you see that a lot? If not, how often, or do you see it at all? And do you work with children and families who have gone through this?
Okay. So the first question is, do I see it? Yes. And it's more like both. Like we have where it's adults, doing the type of act, and then we have a child on child. That's what we call
Mhm.
it. But yeah, I see that, and yes, I see families that have experienced the child on child family, families like
Yeah.
cousin or just a family member that was a child. Yeah, I have seen it.
And I think it's more common than we think. Like that sound, to some that might sound like crazy, but
Hmm.
that's more common than we think. I think I shared with you, this was like a while ago where Kiki Palmer was doing an interview and she talked about how she had that experience with a family member. And it was so many people in the comments like, wow, I went through the same thing. I didn't know, or this or that. And I'm just like, stuff like this really be happening out here. And if you don't know, like, and then we come from the time where, you don't say nothing. You just, we don't do that. We don't,
Hmm.
but to have her put that out there like that, I think it made a lot of people feel comfortable to share that or just to get help for it, you know? Um,
Right.
yeah. And I think it's unfortunate that that's, again, as you just stated, you still seeing that today. Um,
Yes, I am still seeing it today. I think it's more of when people think of like child abuse, they just think it's an adult and a child. But it's when people say, well, they're too young to talk about sex, or they're too young to know. They are talking, y'all. Like kids, it's not even, I don't even think it's a particular age. Like they are being exposed to sex. Why? Because we have the internet now. And the internet is the internet, and you could put it how you want to put it, or you could think how you want to think as far as the internet. But the internet is exposing children to sex. Like the kids don't even know how to spell butt or boobs. But even if they incorrect, the internet gonna say, okay, but this is what you was trying to say.
Yeah.
And when I went to training about that, my mind was blown. Like, who is behind this?
Yeah.
Perpetrators behind everything, or loose, I don't know. Maybe I'll create a conspiracy, but somebody is behind it, where you can type in a misspelled word and it comes up porn. It comes up porn where the kids are exposed to sex. Like, you think, oh, well, my child, I know what they watch, or I know what they're doing. Okay, well, Roblox, they having sex on there. Y'all don't think that? Y'all need to check on that. They're having sex on Roblox, y'all. They're having sex on in these video games. When you think they're playing Fortnite, they may be having a chat about sex. Check your Snapchats. They having sex there. You go, even the younger kids. Oh, well, the little ones, yes, they're kissing. They trying to get married to one another at school. We need to talk about this. We need to talk about body safety. We need to talk about, okay, the uncomfortable touches of where it's a confusing touch. We need to talk about that, because they are being exposed, and then they are being exposed. So it's not a magazine anymore where it's hidden under their bed.
Right.
It's not that anymore. It's the internet. And we got now, like, cartoons are getting married to one another, kissing one another. But
and I will go even
don't get me started.
No, get started, please. That's why you're here. But I agree that it's the internet, but in addition to that, it's the music. It's like you said, kids can't spell, or they don't know their ABCs, but they know the lyrics to Big Mama, Big what? How you know that? Why are you listening to that?
It's mind blowing. It's really mind blowing, where just the basic skills of education is low. And this is, yes, it comes with trauma, but it comes with not the internet. Like, can we just kind of minimize that? Well, it distracts them, or it helps me get things done. A book, coloring book. And I'm not a parent. I'm just an adult that work with kids.
Going outside.
Going
It's
outside.
Summertime. Get off the internet. Go
Get
outside,
a scratch.
touch grass.
Let me go to the first aid kit. Up your head a couple of
Go
times.
ride your bike or something. Go fall off your bike.
Some of these kids don't even know how to ride a bike.
Oh wow.
We could YouTube that. You could watch somebody ride a bike. I just don't understand. I just can't wrap my mind on a lot of things with the internet, with TikTok, with YouTube. I can't wrap my mind around it. And like I tell my mom, we are failing our kids every day. And that sounds so negative, but it's just like, I feel like the minimal things that we can do to transition or change, maybe we could still grasp them and just say, like, this is not life, because they really think the internet is real life, and it's not.
It's not.
It's not, Aaliyah. And so it's a lot of exposure. It's a lot of exposure now. So we have to be mindful about what they are watching. And no, you can't be a helicopter mom. You can't be a helicopter dad, because eventually things are going to slide in. But we could talk to them. We could teach them, because they talking about it at school.
Yeah. If they're not talking about it with like parents, oh, they too young for that. Somebody's talking to them about it. They know. Kids know, like you said earlier, they're sponges. They're very intelligent, very observant. They know. Before we go, I want you to talk to me about what should parents look for as far as, because we didn't talk to, I guess sexual, maybe physical abuse. I know that there's some parents who are physically abusive. Now, let me just say this. I know people might get mad at me, but I'm all for whooping ass.
I am too.
I'm not for beatings. Like, just if you're mad, if you had a bad day at work, you coming home and your kids say something, you just knocking them around. I'm not for that, but I'm a firm believer that every kid is different. Some kids you may only have to tell them one time. Do you do this? I'm gonna do this. You don't do that no more. Cool, mama. Cool, dad. I'm not gonna do it. But it's some kids like me. I didn't think fat meat was greasy. Sometimes you gotta whoop ass a couple times. But look, because we turned out fine. Look, we got whooped.
We got some papaws, more than papaws. But we know,
and grandma,
we know better.
Grandma, she only had to whoop me like, if y'all know my grandma, my grandma has some heavy hands. She has long fingers like me, but she has like it's weight to her hands. I would not like, she only had to whoop me maybe one time. She only had to take me over her knee like once or twice. I never played with her again. I just,
I seen it with my own eyes. I witnessed that type of action, and I just said, that's not in my journey. I don't want that.
no.
I've seen it done. You go ahead, you go off, because I'm gonna be over here. Whatever you say, I'm going to do.
Yes,
Whatever
but I'm sorry. That was like so.
I feel like the signs. That's a tough one, Aaliyah.
Okay.
Because it depends, because every child is different. You can either talk to the child about body safety. I think that's how you start off. The signs are out there, but some kids are different. But so I think the conversation of body safety, hey, when it's an adult, you don't let an adult touch you, this, and we need to start using the proper language of what each private part is, because when it comes to interviews, or when another adult like myself is asking them as far as their body part and they have a nickname, and then I say your vagina or your penis, they look at me like, okay, what
is that?
No, we need to use the proper language. No more nicknames. If they could talk, they can say it, because then they will know, okay, this is my vagina, this is my penis. I can't let nobody touch this unless it's my parent. Now the twist is that we have to be mindful about the conversation, because it's been times where we feel, it's in some cases that parents are our safe bosses, but it changes where parents touch a child inappropriate. So that's where the sticky line is, where as far as the signs and everything. But I think it needs to be a conversation of body safety. Who should be touching you there, and have an agreement, and just saying nowadays, okay, if you don't like so-and-so hugging you, this is what you could do. You could say, no, thank you. You could say, can I fist bump you? Because that's when I think that sometimes that's when it starts, like the confusion, the confused touches, where it's just like, okay, was that a touch inappropriately or not? Because like I said, adults know what they're doing, because it's a manipulation type of deal. It's it's a manipulation. It's confusion. That's their type of act. That's their behavior of, oh, I'm gonna tickle you. I'm tickling you, but I'm really not really
trying to fill on you.
Or I'm trying to fill on you, as far as the tickle. That's as far as perpetrators' behavior. But signs, you just have to talk about body safety. What is a comfortable touch? And asking the kid, what's your comfortable touch? What is your uncomfortable touch? So they'll know the difference between, okay, this person is being genuine, this person is genuine, but this person I'm a little bit conflicted about. And that's
Mhm.
when it's just like it just needs to be conversation. That's all.
Yeah.
And even kid on kid, you don't kiss.
Mm-mm.
You don't kiss. You don't kiss, you don't
Nobody.
touch. If they
Mm-mm.
say, hey, you want to see that? No, thank you.
Nope.
If they say, hey, let me tell, no, thank you. And you tell them an adult. So it's just body safety. It's a conversation on as far as an adult versus a child, or with a child on child, or an adult on child. It's just a conversation.
And something you said earlier, you already know who I thought about. You reminded me of mom because, our grandma's from the country. So
Mm-hmm.
I think even to this day, I don't know that grandma has ever used the correct terminology for our private area. It
Mm-mm.
was always pocketbook or something else.
Mm-hmm.
It was all these names.
Mm-hmm.
But mom sat us down one day and said, this is this, this is that. And even to this
Mm-hmm.
day, I like now I'm an adult. Obviously, I know my body parts, but
Mm-hmm.
I just get so tickled. So when you said like it is important for kids to know the proper name. So like you said, if they're having an interview where somebody's touched them, and mom would tell us nobody's supposed to touch you there. Nobody's supposed to feel.
Mm-hmm.
So you bring up a great point. So I think, hold on, we've come to the end. Is there
Okay.
anything else that you want to say?
Like I could talk to the parents. I could talk to the
Okay.
adults because I feel like because we have an assignment and some of us have stewardship over children, it has to come a time where we need to sit down and decide on if we are actually listening to our body and what is our body saying to us. Is our body saying to step away from the table? Is our body telling us, hey, maybe you need to check in with this child? They seem to be a little bit off. And even if we're not going to continue to keep saying, okay, how was school today?
Hmm.
They're going to say automatically good. They're not going to go into detail. We need to get the conversation
Get
flowing.
deeper.
Okay, so far as lunch, was the lunch really good or was it just okay? Like, did anybody make you upset today? Did you
Mhm.
laugh today at school? It's been times where kids be like, I didn't laugh all day.
Oh
School is
no.
boring. That is sad.
Yeah.
That's sad. But no, just we got to take accountability as adults, as parents. Um, when it comes to these innocent souls, because they are coming into this world eager and ready to embrace, and we are failing them every day because we are not showing up for ourselves and we're not showing up for them as well. But like I
Hmm.
said, like we have to listen to our body. What is your body telling you? Is your body telling you that you need to talk about your trauma in order for you to heal so you'll be able to raise a child? Or
Hmm.
are they experiencing the same thing you was experiencing? You just don't know. What is your body telling you? Are you listening to your body? Is your body telling you to take, not to smoke, but to drink more water? Like what is your body telling you? Like what are you listening to your body? Um Yeah, that's it. And I just want them to just think about that and just let that marinate. Like, if I have a child in my life, am I showing up for them?
Hmm. Well, after that, hell, it's nothing else to be said. No,
I
that's
didn't mean
good,
to
sissy.
fuss.
Like,
I didn't mean to fuss. I don't mean to
no,
fuss,
you're
but
not
it's
fussing.
just like it's like it's like a tornado in my head where it's just like I just need
Hmm.
a straight, narrow path. Yes, I'm following God's directions and God's path. And He is the one that is restoring and reviving my soul each and every day. And I thank Him for that. But if I did not have that straight and narrow, I know that I would lose my mind because it's just so much going on in the world. And it has the number one thing is children. Like,
Yeah.
it's education, it's trauma, it's them being exposed to the internet and sex, and it's just like we just gotta we gotta grasp them. We gotta take control.
Well, you just made me think of one more question.
Okay, come on.
With everything, with everything that you deal with in your line of work, your career, you're these children's leaning post. The Lord is supposed to be our leaning post, but you are what a lot of children and families lean on for their mental stability. So do you have somebody that you lean on? Do you have a therapist? Do you have someone that you talk to?
Yes, God, and I have a therapist, and she has been very helpful because with the work that I do has brought up some stuff that I have not that I pushed to the side. And I will be honest with that because I was just so focused on my line of work. And I really, just had to, I just had to talk to somebody because people don't realize that try not to take work home. And I've been doing very well with that. But it's been times where I've been woken up by just thinking about them, my clients.
Wow.
And I know between the hours of 3 and 4 and 4:30, like when the Lord wake me up, oh, it's time to talk. And I talk to him until, I go to sleep. But I just thank him for, protecting me and having his hands on me and having allowed me to have the peace. Because
Amen.
human strength has been long gone. Human strength.
No, you're right.
Human strength has been long gone. Like,
yeah.
I'm thinking about how long I've been working with kids. I've been working with kids for 12 years.
Wow.
Like 12 years. But clinically, about 5, almost 6 years. And it's just like, I want to continue. I want to continue doing this work, but I don't want it to be an after effect on my mental, as I get older. So yeah, a lot of self-care, a lot of praying, a lot of talking, to the therapist. So
amen. Well, we're getting ready to close this out. I want to take time again to thank you, Alonna, not only for showing up here today and providing knowledge, giving us dropping knowledge, but thank you for the work that you do every day, that you've done over your entire career span. You said for 12 years and clinically for 5 or 6 years. So thank you for the work that you do and for being that support system for these children and for these families. But before we go, I want to give you the opportunity to tell people where they can find you, what's up, what's next for you. So yeah, I just want to give you the opportunity to share that.
How would they find me, Aaliyah, if I don't have no social media?
You don't be.
If you have any questions or any questions, I mean, you can reach me at Voices for Children. You can reach me there. I am on the website, so if you need to call up there, you can call if you have any questions. I also have a mental health business where I provide supervision hours to clinicians and supervision. And if you need to reach out to me as far as questions with that, you can. The business is Free Your Mind LLC. You can actually just Google that and I should pop up. So we just gonna stick to that. Is that good, Aaliyah? Is that good?
That's good, sissy.
But I'm under the rock. If you find me,
yes, if you know Alonna, then you know. Yes, she does kind of she takes her resident is under a rock. So, and that's okay. It is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Thank you again, sissy, for joining me today, and again for sharing this wealth of knowledge. My prayer is that it helps someone, parents specifically, guardians out there. I hope this was very helpful to you. That's it for today's episode. Thank you again, Alonna. I love you. In the meantime, everyone, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Until next time. Bye.